Good morning, March the 3rd, 2017. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is day number 12 into week number 6. So let's get started. First of all, welcome back to this class. As you can see, this is again week number 6. We went through day number 11 on Tuesday, and today is Friday, so we are supposed to be getting into day number 12. So minutes ago, I reviewed the material we cover as of first Tuesday. I would like to make sure you got the message, so in order to warm you up for today's class, I want you to go back to the meaning of cybersecurity. Remember, on Tuesday, we helped you to review the meaning of data protection, what you need to know. And then information security, what you need to know. And now I would like to reinforce the review of the past Tuesday's class by helping you to understand cybersecurity. Just less than 3 minutes.
The threat of a cyber attack. The Department of Homeland Security says they've seen 50,000 recent incursions or attempts. That's just on government computers. So what about your home computer or your laptop? As we put cybersecurity in focus this morning, our Ted Rollins takes a look at how easy it is for someone to hack right into your laptop.
Inside Terminal 5 at the Los Angeles International Airport, dozens of people are on their computers. Gregory Evans is a former hacker whose resume includes 2 years in federal prison.
We were doing almost $1 million, if not more, a week against some of the biggest corporations in the world.
We set up in a corner of the terminal so that Evans, who now owns a cybersecurity company, could show us just how vulnerable people are to hackers.
I will go and set up a fake Wi-Fi and watch everybody connect to it. And once they connect to it and they start surfing the internet, now what I'll do is just grab all their traffic.
We launched a fake network named LAX Free Wi-Fi. Within minutes, people started connecting to it. Evans then showed us how a hacker can record everything off a computer that joined our network by tracking what I was doing on my laptop.
So if they go to their bank, it'll grab all their banking information. If they go to their Facebook, it'll grab all of that. Their Twitter accounts, if they're writing love letters, I can grab all of that.
Or, Evans says even worse, if a hacker has enough time, spyware can be installed, which stays with the victim.
You get on the plane, you go to one country, I go to another. But everything that you do, as long as you have that computer, is going to be emailed back to me.
During our experiment, we stumbled across what appeared to be a real hacker at work. Along with our fake network, there was another one called Free Public Wi-Fi. Airport administrators told us T-Mobile is the only authorized Wi-Fi provider.
So you think that there could be a hacker here right now?
That's correct.
Catching and prosecuting a hacker, especially at an airport, is extremely difficult. E.J. Hilbert is a retired FBI agent who specialized in cybercrime.
It's virtually impossible to catch him. Law enforcement's aware of this, and there's always the next piece. You steal the card, you steal the information, you got to use them somewhere. And that's when you start getting the real investigations going.
Experts say there are a few things you can do to protect yourself. If you're at an airport or a public spot, find out who the Wi-Fi provider is and use that. If it costs some money, pay the money. They also say change your password every now and then and use different passwords for different accounts. Another tip, turn your computer off when you're not using it. And if you do go online using a public Wi-Fi, keep in mind that someone may be watching you.
You don't know if you're getting on a true Wi-Fi or you're connecting to some hacker's network. Like, you don't know if you're connecting to me or if you're really connecting to the airport.
Ted Rollins, CNN, Los Angeles.
Okay, I hope you got the message. All right. So actually, this is one of the few pieces I've been using in the past couple of years to help awaken students while you're using free Wi-Fi. Now in Macau, normally we enjoy something free Wi-Fi in the Hong Kong Macau terminal and also in the airport. Have you ever verified the free Wi-Fi that you can use actually come from the office or agents, just like the airport authority, or from someone playing the role of a hacker, giving you the free Wi-Fi service, but actually using that as a means to collect your information. So I hope that in the video you just saw minutes ago, there are a couple of lessons you need to learned, which has been numbered there by the reporter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are the lessons or advice that you can pick from it, okay? So I hope that, well, by studying today's class in the 6th week of our semester on web attacks and internet vulnerabilities, as well as African issues of hacking and cracking, you again refreshed your memory of what you have learned and picked those pieces together. And then, for Macau, I'm so glad to introduce to you that there is something called the Essentials, all right? So these are produced by the MAR03, okay? MAR03 is an organization, or better say is a small unit in Macau, which is organized under the Technology Innovations Center. They produce quite a number of interesting documents to help us to understand, ordinary people, the basic method to protect ourselves. For example, the computer safety team, the email traps, the spyware and Magnesia software, the trap network and understanding conflict infections. So I would just click on those links to let you see something that is provided by these organizations, okay? It's basically a small pamphlet like this, okay, MAR03, which is produced by the MAR03.org in Macau. You just need to click on the link and you can get all this information ready and read them through. I scanned them for you and it's very good. At least we do have something which has the attentions of the Macau authority, and this is indirectly sponsored by the government, okay? So let's go back here. So you know that we have 5-part series. I did not change this to 2017 because they have not updated ever since then, but it's still very useful for you. And you can access this right at this link under day number 11, okay? And so, I introduced to you that what we're going to talk about more today is on the idea and the practice of hacking, and I introduced the ideas of social engineering in the very first day of class, and also introduced it to you again on Tuesday. And so today what we're going to take a good look at, it's fraud and social engineering, what you need to know. Fraud, it's something like a scam, which is always providing some false information or fake information in order to solicit for your sensitive data. And sometimes you just simply gave the data without paying attention to the interesting traits over there. So let's spend some time now to review and to introduce to you.
Fraud affects us both at work and in our personal lives. Understanding the tricks criminals use and how they fool us, as well as identifying where we might be exposed to fraud, are some of the things we can do to help protect ourselves. So this is fraud and social engineering, by what you need to know. Broadly speaking, fraud is the deliberate use of deception or dishonesty to make a financial gain, cause someone a loss, or expose someone to a risk of loss. Let's start by having a look at some of the ways fraud is committed. Fraud by abuse of position is when someone is in a position of trust and expected to look after the financial interest of another person, and they abuse that position for personal gain. Here's an example. Nick was a financier who used his strong reputation in the city to convince customers to invest with him. However, instead of investing their money, he used it to pay for his extravagant lifestyle. Abuse of a position would also include things like selling client information to a competitor, copying software products and then selling them for personal gain, and could even include giving special discounts to friends or relatives. Another form of fraud involves failing to disclose information. Helen believed her expensive watch had been stolen. She made a claim to the insurance company and later received a payment from them. Then, Helen found the watch, but didn't let the insurance company know. She can't have both the watch and the money. People often fail to disclose information when applying for things such as jobs, mortgages, and insurance policies. But when people lie on this type of application, it's called fraud by false representation. And false representation also occurs when someone pretends to be someone they're not, which is what Harry did. Harry used to phone people up and pretend to be from the bank. He'd try to get customers' personal details, then sell these to criminals. Other examples of fraud by false representation include using a stolen identity to get a loan, or a stolen credit card to buy things, or pretending to be an official representative as Harry did, when really he was just a confidence trickster, a grifter, a scammer. Whether fraud happens in person, through the post, over the phone, or through the internet, there are a number of psychological manipulation techniques that fraudsters use to get us to do things or divulge information which we wouldn't normally do. And this is sometimes called social engineering. Let's have a look at some of these manipulation techniques. One is using authority and trust. When someone speaks and carries themselves with authority, we'll often assume that they're genuine and therefore take them at their word. As a result, we do what they ask us to do, especially if they look the part. A sense of authority and trust can also be conveyed through forged letters, fake websites, and bogus emails. Another technique they use is to try and create a sense of urgency or scarcity. We also see this in advertising, when a fear of missing out is exploited to get us to act quickly. Sometimes they'll try and convince us that something is real because everyone else is doing it. In other words, there's some form of social proof or consensus of opinion. They do this because when we're not sure what we should do, we tend to follow the crowd. So if we're told that everyone else has agreed to something, we're likely to assume that they can't all be wrong, and we go along with them. Another trick is to present themselves as being likable and familiar. We like to help people, especially if we like them and feel that they're one of us. For example, by working for the same organisation. Fraudsters will often appear to be extremely pleasant and sometimes pretend to know someone within the organisation so as to give the impression that they belong there, and to get us on their side and willing to help. Hackers use similar tricks, such as befriending a person on a social media site to get them to lower their guard and therefore take less care than usual. And if that doesn't work, they might try using threats and intimidation. Perhaps a threat of reporting someone to their boss for not doing their job properly, or just appearing to be really angry to avoid being challenged or questioned. Email phishing scams often use intimidating language like, "You'll be locked out of the system," or "Unless you act now, you'll have to pay a fine," to both threaten and create a sense of urgency so that we act quickly and without thinking. Criminals will use any and all of these techniques, and if you feel someone is trying to put pressure on you or to manipulate you, it can be a good idea to verify that the person really is who they say they are. But be careful. Fraudsters are prepared for challenges like these, so make sure the person doing the verifying is genuine. Being aware that criminals use these techniques can help alert us to scams while they're happening, but there are more things we can do. One is identifying where you're most vulnerable, then taking steps to make these areas more secure. At work, there are 4 general areas you could look at: assets, staff, customers, and suppliers. Assets can be physical, such as equipment, stock, and money, or things like ideas, information, and client details, all of which can be sold on. An organisation's brand and reputation are also valuable assets which can be exploited or damaged by criminals. Nearly 1 in 5 small businesses have been defrauded by a member of staff at some point, either by the person acting on their own, with a colleague, or in collusion with someone outside the business. Criminals also pose as customers in order to commit fraud, perhaps by making purchases using someone else's payment card, or using the overpayment scam. Here's how it works. They overpay by cheque, then later point out the mistake and ask for a refund. The scam works if they get the refund before the cheque inevitably bounces. Fraudsters sometimes pretend to be a known supplier and then arrange for a regular payment to be redirected into a different bank account. Or a trusted supplier might start to regularly and intentionally overcharge, perhaps in collusion with a member of staff. When you look at areas of personal vulnerability, consider unsolicited or unexpected phone calls, letters, and visitors. If you use the internet, think about how you do things like make purchases online, fill out forms with personal information, and use social media. These are all areas fraudsters exploit. The old sayings that if something sounds too good to be true, then it probably is, and if something doesn't feel right, then it probably isn't, are worth keeping in mind. So listen to what your instincts are telling you, and if you feel that something's wrong, be especially careful. understanding where you're most vulnerable and most exposed to the risk of fraud, then taking measures to protect yourself, being aware of the psychological manipulation techniques that fraudsters use, and paying attention to your instincts are all steps you can take to build up your protection against fraud and social engineering.
I think this is a very important piece for you to keep in mind in our everyday living and learning, particularly in the topics of information security and privacy. The strength of our system is only as good as the weakness of the strength of our weakest point, and that particular weakest point often is attributed to the human fallacies. And because of that, you can see that the most effective and the most economic way for the hacker to use is to use social engineering in the form of frauds to trick you, okay, to trick you, and in order to get some very important information from you without you consciously protecting yourself. So the ideas of fraud and the persons who did that, the fraudsters, and the practice of social engineering, it's something that we need you to be aware of. And what you need to know piece that you just saw is definitely a license piece, but it's a very good piece that I use in this particular class to help you understand that. So I hope that with that opening, you have a very basic ideas of what you're faced with. Let's see, I do have some very interesting videos here. Yeah, let's see. Over here, I have collected some documentary. These are produced just like a movie, so that if you have time, you want to be enriched on some of the very important informations on how the hackers work and what they're doing. You can just try to come to some of those links, all right? This is a very famous one. And then it traces the histories of this hacking, which will give you a very good understanding of it. Oh, you can take a look at it. All these have been removed by YouTube already, but it's okay, as long as you got some, that will be good. So today, before I continue, I just want to remind you one thing that is quite important for you. So let's go back to day number 1 and take a look at the calendar. According to the calendar of the semester, you are supposed to turn in the second set of your learning contract number 2 by the end of week number 7, that is by the end of next week. The deadline is March 11th and March the 12th. So I'm going to tell you what you need to prepare for that today. And I'm going to tell you again next Tuesday and tell you one more time next Friday, all right? So in order to understand what you need to prepare, you need to come back to learning contract number 1, okay? So if you come to learning contract number 1, you can see that before the end of this week, I'm going to return the feedback to you as far as the results, but the focus of my instructions now is to point you to what you need to prepare for learning contract number 2. In learning contract number 2, again, okay, you need to prepare a proposal, okay? But this time, it is not an individual proposal. It is what we call a pair proposal. You and your pair partner need to come up with this proposal together. Just like in the first learning contract, when you do this proposal, you need to share with your learning partner which topic you have personally chosen. Okay? Just like for which week? We have week number 5, we have week number 6, and we have week number 7 in the second learning contract. So you can choose from 3 reading lists, including week number 5, week number 6, and week number 7. And once you have chosen one of the 3 reading lists, you need to choose one question, just like in the first learning contract, okay? And after you have chosen that question, good enough, you need to tell your learning partner immediately. And your learning partner needs to tell you immediately which reading list he or she has chosen and which questions under that reading list he or she has chosen. Okay? The only challenge is the two of you in your learning pair could not choose the same topic, could not choose the same question. Okay? You must choose two different questions. So with that two different questions in your learning pair, you need to come up with one important question or topic that belongs to both of you, okay? That has elements from both questions individually chosen by the two of you in your pair, okay? So the second learning contract requires some collaborations. That means the two of you in your pair needs to make decisions together, okay? And so when you submit your proposal, it's a pair proposal. It's not an individual proposal. The pair proposal should contain the following, okay? I'm going to write you a message to inform you more. First of all, each of the two pair members need to list which reading list he or she has chosen and which questions in that reading list he or she has chosen. So I should have two sets of information, one from each of the learning pair member on which reading list he has chosen, which reading list the learning partner has chosen, and which questions under that reading list one member has chosen, which other question under the other reading list the other member has chosen. This is information, okay? And after that, you as a pair need to present one important question which contain elements of both questions, but unique to your pair, not just unique to an individual member. Okay? So it could be a question which is formed by combining the emphasis of both questions. Okay? So remember, we are talking about questions. In a proposal, we're talking about questions. And once you got that pair questions ready, again, the two of you need to come up with three sub-questions to explore that pair question. Okay? Three sub-questions to explore that pair question that is come up by the two of you in your pair. And finally, you need to provide three relevant references. It could be more than three, but three will be enough to explore the pair questions. To explore the pair questions. Okay? Understand that? Then the two of you need to write a paragraph, which is less than 200 English words, to explain what this pair question is all about and why you want to explore this question. Okay, that is what a proposal is all about. Very much like the individual proposal, but this time when you work that proposal out, you need to work together with your learning partner because his or her input to the pair proposal is important. Okay? So once you got the pair proposal ready, again, you need to move on to the online learning journal. Again, this time, the two of you need to prepare only one journal. Both of you submit the same journal. Okay? This time, it is called a pair online learning journal. The two of you need to work together. And as far as the journal is concerned, the sources when you have to use to work out the journal very much up to the two of you. And oftentimes, it should be from the one or two or three of the references you name in the proposal. Okay? So it's very natural. And the journal need to include, again, as in the first individual learning journal, the observations from the two of you in your pair by reading on the sources, some of the interpretations, what this means, and some of the applications, what can you learn from that. Again, the journal does not have to be written in prose style. You do not need to worry about the grammar or whatever paragraph. It is mainly in poem form. Okay, journals are raw material. So you have to exercise your ability in information literacy to discover, remember? Discover. And finally, the two of you need to engage in, again, a peer discussion forum, okay? A peer discussion forum, which is very important on how the two of you decide on what to include in the journal and what to include in the questions. And I do not want to bother you with too much of the details here because it's really up to the two of you how you carry out the collaborations. I do not have any specific requirement except for that it should be indicative, the details there should be indicative of the collaborations between the two of you in the journaling process. Okay? So this is the discussions detail. Finally, this time you need to write a blog after the journal. Okay? The journal does not have to be in prose type English, but you need to write a blog after you finish the journal. So besides the PowerPoint, I'm going to invite you to write a blog. The both of you submit the same blog. Okay, this time same blog. The two of you write the same blog. In your pair, the same blog is submitted by two of the members, okay? Not two different blogs, okay? The same blog. And the blog is written on the proposed questions, okay? So you are going through a process involving two persons in your pair. Individual members select a question from the free reading list, combine the two questions from the two members into one single question which has element of both, and then find the references, use the references to write the journal, and use the journal and the discussion detail to write a blog. Okay, that's it. And you do not need to submit the PowerPoint. But when your peer is given a chance to present your topic after you've submitted the work, the two of you in your pair need to prepare PowerPoint. And the PowerPoint must not include more than 10 slides. This time, not more than 10 slides because you have two persons. Yet, the time to present your PowerPoint is still 5 minutes. Okay? Understand that? So very much similar to the first learning contract, except for the fact that this time the two of you need to make decisions together. Okay? And the two of you need to write a journal together, the two of you need to write a blog together, and the two of you need to present your work together using a PowerPoint which could include not more than 10 slides in 5 minutes, and the presentations will be scheduled immediately after March 11. Hi, good morning. Do you understand that? So you will see the submission link which will be released by this Saturday, okay? Very similar to the submissions link like this. And you will receive the feedback for your first set of artifacts before next Tuesday, okay? So everything will be smoothly integrated, and so that you will get feedback on the work you did last time and getting you ready for the work you need to finish in the second learning contract. Remember, the theme of the second learning contract is self-regulated learning means you need to know what you need to get accomplished, with what time frame, using what resources, with what action steps. And given the time constraint, you do not have a lot of time to do it again and again, but you need to include some mechanisms of evaluations, all right? So it's very important that you understand that. I've just walked you through, okay, the individual artifact you need to submit in a second learning contract, which include a peer proposal, not this one, a peer proposal, a peer online journal, peer discussion forum detail, a peer blog, okay? And then for the PowerPoint, you do not need to submit until when you present it. So this will lighten up a lot of your workload, okay? So we are walking into the last week of second learning contract. Next week and by the end of next week, you need to submit those artifacts. So again, it is only one question that you need to choose, and the two of you need to create, okay? With equal emphasis on the concerns from each of the two members. Okay, having said that, Gabi, are you ready to present your 5 minutes? You submit the PowerPoint for the first learning contracts work, okay? Almost all the students here have finished presenting, and we wait for you to come back. And today you're here, are you ready to present it today? It's very important, because if you're going to earn points after your presentations. Are you ready? Okay? Because I want to give chance to every single student to do the presentations. So let's see, it is in week number 4. Okay, let's see. It's for Gabi. Yes, right here. I think this is your PowerPoint. Yeah. All right. So we're ready to give you the 5 minutes. Okay. So regret that today topic is back, and Nicholas, have you submitted your PowerPoint in the same forum? Okay, we'll give you another 5 minutes after Gabi. All right. So Gabi, can I give you the 5 minutes to present your work? It's important that you got this done. All right. So we have the presentations from Gabi. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, I'm Gabe. My topic I choose from first week. My topic is what is information security. So information security is simple the process of keeping information secure. Protecting is availability in integrity and privacy. And my personalized question is, how does social media affect our daily living in terms of securing your own personal information online? And my sub-question is, are open source project more or less secure than provided ones? And number 2 is, was more secure SSL or HTTPS? And number 3 is, what are the ways to handle account for forcing? And why I choose this topic is because this topic is really interests me, because everybody always talk about security when they using online and social media. Yes. And this is my reference.
Thank you. You finished?
Yes.
Thank you, Gabi. You did a very good job in terms of making sure you have a topic, where does it come from, with some questions and references, and you also named some of the very interesting steps, okay, in the context of information security. So allow me to look up Nicholas' PowerPoint. Did you submit it right here, Nicholas? Yeah. Okay, let me try to right here on this forum. Okay, let me go through it. cannot see your submissions here. Do you remember that you signed up in this forum for the presentations? This forum is for week number 4. You sign up by pressing reply and you upload your PowerPoint there. Okay? Can you do it now? And maybe I can help you with this too. Okay? Just to ensure that you have your PowerPoint submitted. Yeah. I think you did submit your PowerPoint in the set of submission artifacts, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to help retrieve your PowerPoint from here, but you need to make sure you upload your PowerPoint again under the sign up link again, okay? So let's see. You're Nicholas, right? Okay, let's see. Okay. Well, I suggested that all of you should complete the presentations within 1 week after your submissions. So I really want to help everyone to make sure you got a chance to do the in-class presentations. Each one of you need 5 in-class presentations in order to get the 20 points. Okay, now this is Nicholas, right? Okay, make sure after today's presentations, you sign up again in the forum, week number 4, and put this PowerPoint there. Okay, this is a record to earn that score, right? Okay, now let's try. Good. This is for Nicholas. I'll give you 5 minutes. All right. So, good. All right.
Good morning. My name is Nicholas, and this is my presentation for information and security and privacy. The topic is ethics and social responsibility in the information age. I just want to clarify that because I have been absent for so many weeks, I don't really know how the format is.
It's okay. You just have 5 minutes.
Yeah, so I chose this topic because it looked really interesting. Like, I mean, in terms of ethics and social responsibility in the information age, because everyone's always behind the computer and you don't actually know, like, are you right for saying this or are you right for saying that? And no one is actually online policing this, these kinds of discussions. So no one will actually go out and say, oh, there's a law that says you cannot say this or you're being rude. So like I think it's very interesting to look at the ethics and social responsibility side of the internet. So my question is, what is social responsibility in the information age? And what I've checked is it's like looking at what you say in the internet. It's like a filter. And my personalized question is, what is the relationship of freedom of speech and being socially responsible in this information age? I think that is very hard to draw a definitive line because you're hiding behind a computer, you are given this power that you feel like you're safe behind the camera and say whatever you want, and no one will actually jump out and attack you. But then there's a limit to, I mean, you're exercising your freedom of speech, but then there's a limit to what you can say and what you cannot say. And my sub-questions is, the first one is, what is being socially responsible online? Which is what I said before, which is thinking before you type. It's like the same as real life. You can just go up and say rude things to people. I think it's the same online. You try not to be rude also online. To what extent can you exercise freedom of speech in this age online? I think people abuse their freedom of speech online. Because wherever you go to YouTube, you go to Facebook, you go to any social media, you see people hating on other people, so whether you're successful or not successful. So I think people are abusing it. And then will we progress to a time when we say online can be policed? I think that's a very far-stretched concept, because the online world is so big, and it's hard to actually police people what they should or should not do online. That's it.
Thank you, Nicholas. I think you have rendered very meaningful questions, deep questions, and these are not easy questions. Thank you. Thank you. What's your major? Psychology. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's why you're thinking of questions that are quite meaningful at this time. All right. So you see that we have a community. Okay. So I do not want to leave anyone out when it comes to the presentations of your work you did in the first learning contract. You can feel that it should not be long and it should not be too complicated, as long as you speak from what you think in terms of a couple slides and to elaborate on it. Let everyone knows how you think and we can learn together. So let's come back to today's class. All right, so I have helped you to review what you should have picked up from the first learning contract on Tuesday. In particular, I introduced to you that you need to learn the techniques of inquiry-based learning, that is questioning into something. And then I used two important videos. One is called Data Protections, What You Need to Learn, and the other is called Information Security, What You Need to Know, not learn, what you need to know. Data protections and information security, what you need to know. They help put into context what you should have internalize after 4 weeks of learning from this course, information security and privacy. And today I open up week number 6, day number 12, with a cybersecurity concerns, which is actually a reinforcement of the documentary in Chinese that I aired to you in the class on day number 1. All right. So and then we moved into the topics of hacking and cracking. And before we talk cracking, we introduced to you the ideas of ethical hackings, studied from last week. And is there anything good that could be perceived as good by hacking into someone else's system? And we introduced to you there are some professions called ethical hackers, and they use every means the bad intention hackers use in order to intrude into the system by invitations. The only purpose of their doing it is to check how robust a particular system is, a particular organization is. And having done all this, they will document what they did and tell the company's owner or the management what they can do to enhance the strength of the system security. And then we helped you to understand the meaning of hacking and cracking. Normally, there is no such term as ethical cracker. We use the term ethical hacker. And so, typically speaking, according to the evolutions of vocabulary, crack, when we use the word crack, it has a bad connotation that something bad is going to happen. When we use the word hack, people often ask, is it a good intention hacking or bad intention hacking? And normally in the field, they have the gray hat and they have the white hat hacker. The white hat hacker means they're doing this for good. The gray hat hacker, they're doing this for their own benefits, so definitely damage is going to happen. All right. So let's say this is day number 12. So can I use this, do some summaries on this? Now this is a very important piece. which contains 68 minutes, but it's done in a way that it's very funny, okay? I highly recommend that you take a preview into this so that a guy like this, actually this guy, can tell you what exactly is meant by the tricks of hacking. And then, this is another one. I just renewed this web link. And I know that you know there's a guy called Edward Snowden from the United States and still very much wanted. He came to Hong Kong in 2013 and leaked some information which shocked the world. I'm going to give you just 10 minutes of this, and I hope that you will continue watching it
Details of a secret
after
telephone and
today's
internet
class.
surveillance program in the USA has disappeared in Hong Kong.
If he wants to come home tomorrow to face the music, he can do so.
They should use every legal avenue we have to bring him back to the United States.
I want to get him caught and brought back for trial.
I don't know how anybody can view this person as anything other than a criminal.
We'd be killing you. Get out, get out, get out, get out.
You're going along with someone's life literally in your hands. Either our plan had worked and we would get on that flight, or it wouldn't.
Just 3 weeks earlier, Edward Snowden, a 29-year-old analyst for the National Security Agency in the USA, was waiting for journalists he thought he could trust. In his backpack, he had nearly 1 million top-secret NSA documents. The journalists were traveling across the world, from New York to a hotel in Hong Kong, for a secret meeting whose outcome they couldn't predict.
Because I knew that what was waiting there was vitally important, but because we didn't know what really was going on, we thought there was even a chance. I mean, every step of the way kind of had all sorts of hazards. The question mark that hung over us more than anything else was the fact that we had no idea who the person was that we were about to meet. So we were really just kind of rushing into this huge unknown.
The documents Snowden had with him were so sensitive, he could be in prison for decades for removing them. For all he knew, the U.S. authorities could have intercepted the communications of the journalists, and he was about to fall into a trap.
I had crossed the Rubicon at that point. Actually, I think, I don't think anybody can reach such a clear turning point in their life without thinking Alia Yachta-esque to themselves, the die is cast. I had to expect that the most likely scenario was that I would be let out in handcuffs.
How would we know that we weren't talking to some agent or somebody else? So the quite ingenious method that he invented was to hold this Rubik's Cube, and that was the first thing I looked for.
After getting top-secret documents from Snowden, the two Guardian journalists published their first stories. They did not name their source. Edward Snowden's identity remained a secret.
At the time, I thought it was paranoid. Once we were in the room, he piled pillows up against the door jamb, up high along the sides and along the bottom. So if there was somebody passing in the hallway, just eavesdropping, it would make it more difficult for them.
The stories began to appear, and then there's a period of time before he then self-identifies. In that gap there, it's my understanding that NSA had a very good idea who that was, what he had done, and then it's a simple step from there to begin to use all the tools available to the U.S. government as to where he might be.
He wanted to access his laptops. He had a big red hood that he would put over his head and over his computer, so that when he was putting in his passwords, he was scared that somebody might be able to see him through the window, or maybe there was a hidden camera in the room.
This is the greatest loss of secrets in our nation's history. And so that certainly was energizing the other parts of the U.S. government to do everything they could to get him, and especially the materials, back before there was any more harm.
How far was the U.S. willing to go, based on your professional experience in the intelligence community?
For me, it was a question of, could the government feel every copy of this material could be stopped at a single point? And if that point had presented itself, I don't know what they would have done. That it was even possible that they might try to kill me.
He was incredibly edgy, he was nervous, and I remember there was a fire alarm went off, and he wondered, was this a tactic to get him out of his room?
Always hovering about everything we're doing was the possibility that at any given moment there could be a knock on the door that would put an end to our interaction.
The time it was extremely tense, and every day myself and Glenn would see Snowden in the mirror. We didn't expect him to be there. We assumed that this guy, they must be hunting for him.
What would you do if you were the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, the director of the National Security Agency, and you knew there was an individual out there who was about to expose evidence that you had committed serious crimes, and you had the resources available to stop this person, even if it meant using lethal force? What would you do?
So I know for a fact that the U.S. government was very angry with Mr. Snowden. His safety and also his life was put at risk.
But you know that?
I do know.
The idea that he could somehow invade the US for very much longer seemed inconceivable to us. And every time we interviewed him, we thought, well, that's the last time we'll see him. We've got to make the most of this, because we won't get the chance to speak to him tomorrow. He won't be there.
Well, up to this point, I guess
for many years,
this documentary may be quite attractive for you to follow up in your own study. Okay, I've included a link in our resource. It's about ethics. It's about hacking. It's about national security. It's also about politics. It's something that could be put together. Now, it's going to be a very good piece to educate ourselves on what we're going to pick up from this in the topic of information security and privacy. Okay, I hope that you got a basic understanding of this story, and this is quite a famous story. Okay, and anyone who read the news who knows something about this. And where is this guy today? It is said that he's now in Russia. Okay, the U.S. government is still very much after him. He's hiding, all right? So, okay, this is a very important piece. Now, Jose, I want to give you a chance to present your 5 minutes. Learning content number 1. Yeah. First of all, let's double check to see if you, did you sign up and submit your PowerPoint? Yeah, let's see. I'm coming back here because it's the first time I ever see you after the week for presentations, all right? So, this is Jose, right? Let's see. Jose, you sign up, but looks like you did not submit your PowerPoint, right? But have you submit your PowerPoint in the submission link? Let's double check. Jose? Yes, you did submit your PowerPoint in the submission link. So, you need to, after today's presentations, go back to the sign up forum and put back your PowerPoint there, okay? So Jose, I give you 5 minutes, and it's your time to do it. All right? Galbig did it, Nicholas did it. So it's your time. All right? It's okay. Don't worry. We're not going to kill you. Thank you. It's important that you do this presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Professor. Yes, I'm Jose Alberto Torres Santos, and this is Information Security and Privacy. Okay. I chose the title "What is Information Literacy" from week 4. This is the basic background of what is the information of literacy. It is a set of abilities. It is to recognize when information is needed. It is the ability to locate, evaluate, and use effectively the needed information. It forms the basis of a lifelong learning, common to all disciplines and environment, practiced by all levels of education, assume greater control over their own learning. Next. My personalized question is, what and how to apply this information literacy in our daily lives? Yeah. I found this in Google, at Google. Okay, so it says like the information literate person can, what's that? I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, there you go. Identify, find, evaluate, apply, and acknowledge. That's how you find the information. So next. My 3 sub-questions are, question 1, how is the knowledge of commonly used research techniques being used worldwide? Question 2, how do information literacy and information technology related? And last question is, how to understand the economic, legalization, and social issues surrounding the use of information literacy ethically and legally. Okay, and why did I choose this? Why did I choose this topic is, oh my god. I didn't put it in the slide, but for me it's a very interesting topic. It shows how people should be literate in this modern society, and it is in the last week of before the presentation, so I found it very interesting. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you, Jose. Actually, the questions Jose posed are very inspiring. If you look at the questions of his PowerPoint, Jose, make sure you put your PowerPoint in the sign-up forum so that everyone can read it. It's very useful. And again, Nicholas, you do it the same, okay? Just like what Gavin did. it's very important that you learn from someone else. Now, even it's a very brief introduction, but the question itself is very stimulating, okay? And I hope that you not miss the chance to share with your classmates. Are you clear? Have you done your presentations? No? Have you submitted PowerPoint? Do you want to do it now? Okay, good. Very good. Let me just set up the PowerPoint for you. So, right here, right? But remember, you need to put your PowerPoint back to the side forward. You have done it already? Okay, good. That's good. That's good. So it's very important so that everybody could have a chance to look at your thinking. Is this one? Okay, that's good. Clear? I give you 5 minutes. Thank you. Thanks.
I am curious. My presentation topic is about what is information security. Information security, I think it can be assumed that it is aimed at keep your information can be read by the person you allow them to read. So there are two sub questions. How can I make sure there are nobody else can read the information you do not allow them to read? So people used to make the key, such as putting them in a computer which is encrypted with a password, or just take the paper and lock it. So what you need to do is keep the key is safe. If your key is lost, the information is will be lacked very soon. And another thing is you need to keep the information not be destroyed. So if the information is destroyed, if you want to read them, and it is not possible to be read. About the encryption, there are some way to encrypt the information. First, I think it's many long ago, people used one letter to replace another, such as put A and E, and so nobody else can find this. But there are some ways to decrypt this encryption, such as use how familiar you use the letter, such as you use E more frequently than I, and you can find there are too many. The letter which is appeared most frequently, this is the letter of the E, and then you can replace the information at another level. You use a different word to replace another one. And at last, I think the most effective way is replace the meaning of the word. So how many possibilities there is if your girlfriend asks you what day is this day means? There are many. Even the information you want, she want somebody to know, he can't understand. Maybe he can. Another thing is keep your information not be destroyed. And there are, I think there are some way you can make sure it's first you can make a copy in different place, because in a same computer, if the hard disk is destroyed, all the information is gone. But if you make a copy in another place, even this computer is broke, you can read the information as well as. And there are some software you can make to you can achieve this one by using the recovery calculation, such as build up a red 0 or red 1. I'm not sure because you can make you can build up a more stable system. For example, the laptop have its battery. So if the power is off, it can continue working. That's thinking.
Thank you, Clea. It's very meaningful that you try to put things together on the CIA of information security. The C means confidentiality, the I means integrity, and the A means availability. The CIA of information security is very important. The second thing is the way to encrypt the information in such a way we want to protect it from easily being recognized by other people not intended for the message. So thank you, Clea. Thank you. So I think I'm going to stop here today. After I take attendance, you're free to go because we just have about 5 minutes left. So remember, by the end of next week, we're going to conclude the second learning contract. The theme is self-regulated learning. And you're going to submit the second set of learning artifacts. I mentioned all those artifacts to you earlier in today's class, and I'm going to remind you again next Tuesday and next Friday. All right? So allow me to take attendance now. Chloe?
Yes.
Thank you. Anson? Not here today. Tracy? Not here today. Okay. Alfonso? Thank you. Neon? Neon is not here today. Okay. Franco? Thank you. Clears? Thank you. Juno? Not here today. Shadow? Shadow is not here today. Okay. Jerry, you're here. And Carol Wong, Carol, you're here. And then Henry Wong, thank you. And then Steve, you're here. Tina is not here today. Okay. And then Marco, thank you. Yeah. Maggie, you're here. Vincent, okay, it's all right. I saw you. Jeff, okay. And then Henry New, Henry, another Henry, not here today. Dong Yin, not here today. Okay. So carry on, not here today. Carol O, you're here, thank you. Nicholas, you're here. Garbage, you're here. Rose, you're here. And then let's say attendance first. So Tiger, you're here. Very good. So thank you very much for coming back. Please let me know, as I have already prompted you for this, who your learning team pair is, okay? Make sure you give me the information, because after next week, we will get into learning contract number 3, and you will have to work in teams, okay? Remember that team partner registration forum here, team partner registration forum here, and we just have one information from Leon, and make sure you give me the 2 pairs information to form your team, all right? So by the end of next week, I need to prompt you for that, all right? So normally I will spend 2 to 3 weeks time to get those information. Now we're in the middle of it, all right? So thank you very much for coming back today on day number 12. Garbik, Nicholas, and Jose, and Clears to do the presentations today. Thank you. And so until next week, week number 7, day number 13, stay tuned.